Penn State is different this year. Now, it was easy to come away from the first half of that football game and think to yourself, well, same old Penn State, right? Who didn't? Seriously, just tell me. I'll trust tree here. Okay, you and me. For those of you that are listening on the podcast, I am pointing directly into the camera. You and me, when you're watching this Penn State game, I'm sitting there watching it in the press box at LSU, and every single person that is watching the same game I'm watching has the exact same reaction as me. Well, same old Penn State. You look at the first half, you got dropped passes, you got offensive pass interference that wipes away a touchdown. You got a bunch of mistakes that just piled up there in the first half. You got a defense that can't find the football. It's like, well, we've seen this before. James Franklin, here he is again. The bigger the moment, the bigger the opportunity, the bigger the stage, the more things seem to unravel. Like, how many times have we said that? Sitting there, it's 20-6. Penn State had to kind of look in the mirror there at halftime and say, do we want things to look like they've always looked, or do we want to flip the script? Because Lincoln Riley was in his bag early, man. I mean, Lincoln Riley had a great plan. I loved Lincoln Riley's plan in this one. And then you got Woody Marks, who's just rolling right through the teeth of the defense. I mean, this thing looked like it could have gone sideways. And then Penn State said, all right, enough. Let's go. Let's show. Like, I don't care if we go down and we lose this game. We are going to unload the tank today, ladies and gentlemen. Like, this is it. So they threw everything they had, and yet still had a couple of stalls in the red zone. They had to settle for those field goals. But Andy Kotelnick, he said, no, we got more. We got more in the tank, guys. We do. Boom, double pass. Funky formation. But how about, that was a bold play call from Andy Kotelnick, wasn't it? Especially when you take into account, this thing goes haywire. You're down a couple scores. Let's say, Pribilov misses a throw and it's a fumble and SC recovers it. This is bold, all right? So, fast forward, Warren jumping, grabbing it around the defender, and then that sparks the comebacks. And Warren, by the way, if there's someone else that's in the running for the Mackey, let me know, because if that thing were to be awarded right now to the top tight end of the sport, it's a runaway in his favor, all right? 17 for 224, including the 32-yard touchdown. Another thing that I thought kind of showcased why this team is different. Julian Fleming. Transfer, right? A guy that had high hopes this year, that he'd be a huge factor, a go-to guy in the offense. He hasn't really been that way. He's kind of been, he's been a piece, but he hasn't been a featured piece. Well, he gets the OPI on the opening drive. And then what happens? He could have definitely gone in the tank, right? He didn't. He stayed with it, and then boom, fourth quarter, down 7. Drew Aller looks in his direction, and Fleming responds with a tremendous 4th and 7 conversion. Fought through some contact, 17-yard game, keep the drive alive. Same critical drive, all right? 4th and 10. Aller's sitting there. Where am I looking? Julian Fleming. All right, a couple plays later, Singleton scores, and now the game is tied. So I think Fleming was a perfect example of how this team has changed mentally. Disappointment early, doesn't matter, got to keep playing. Couple of 4th down conversions that were huge for them as they move forward. And for those that had questions about Drew Aller in big moments, it was far from a flawless performance, right? No one's going to sit there and watch Drew Aller's performance, particularly in the first half, and say, all right, yeah, he's going to win the Heisman Trophy. He's going to win the Davey O'Brien. Like, no one's going to sit there and say that based on how he played. But great quarterbacks respond to adversity and make the plays needed to get them to the finish line in victory. And Drew Aller showed that. If you can lead a game-winning drive in a clutch, pressure-packed situation, back against the wall, gotta-have-it situations, on the road, look, you take it and you run. Far from perfect and a lot to clean up, but Penn State, I think, showed more mental fortitude in this performance than they have in quite some time. So a lot of credit to the Nittany Lions going on the road and getting the job done in hostile and challenging circumstances.